In this video, I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to paint a glitter effect with gouache. To paint this cute little note card you can send this holiday season. If you want a PDF version of this tutorial, sign up for the Gouache Mob. It's completely free and gives you access to a bunch of tips, tricks and tutorials for working with gouache, and I'll pop a link for this below. So to start off, you want to draw your circles for your baubles. Here I've drawn 3, and then you can pick your colours that you want your glitter baubles to be. For this I'm using Gouache by Jeece Finest, and I've chosen crimson, pale green and viridian. You'll also need a white and a black for this. For brushes, you'll want a small flat brush for painting your baubles, and then you'll want a small dot or liner brush, something with a tiny tip to paint these sparkles on. So we're going to start the bauble off by creating the basic form. To do this, you're going to paint most of the bauble with the colour that you've chosen. In this case it is the crimson, and then we're going to highlight an area with a little bit of white mixed with the crimson, and we're going to create a shadow on the opposite side with a little of the crimson mixed with viridian. This is going to give us a nice dark red for the shadow. You can use overlapping messy brush strokes for this. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. Most of this is going to be covered, so we just want to create just an indication of the rounded form of the bauble. Once you've done this with one, you can repeat it for the other two, using the same process of applying the main colour that you've picked and then highlighting and adding a shadow to the opposite side. Once your base layer is dry, you're ready to start adding the glitter texture. We'll build this up with a series of dots made with our small brush, and we'll adjust the colour as we move around the bauble. Start with your darkest colour first. This is a mixture of crimson darkened with a little viridian for this really nice deep red colour, and start around the outside of the bauble with lots and lots of little dots. Keep your dots closest together around the edge, and as you move in towards the centre, space them out a little. When you've made it all the way around with this dark colour, we're going to switch to the original colour of the bauble. So in this case it's crimson, and we're going to kind of do the same again. We're going to add small dots around the bauble just inside the area where we added the dark dots, and we're going to allow these to enter into the light area a little more. Once you've added all the red dots, make a mixture of crimson with a little bit of white, and we're going to add this over the top. This won't show up on the highlight of the bauble, so we're going to add this just around that, and we're going to allow some of these dots to creep out into the darker areas. And it's these little dots that are going to really help it look like our bauble is glittery. Once we've added these light dots, we're going to add another layer of lighter dots, and this is a mixture of the crimson with even more white added. So this is a very pale pink. Add this mainly focused on the brightest area of the bauble, and keep the dots nice and close together here. As you work outwards into the darker areas, allow your dots to space out a little. Finally, we'll add the brightest white, and that's really going to give us this impression of glitter. For this you can use white gouache straight out of the tube, so we get the most opacity. Apply this in dots focused on the brightest area of the bauble. And like we did with the layers underneath, spread these marks out as you move away from this point. Add a few bright spots out towards the edges for a little extra sparkle. Finally, we can take a super dark mixture, so this is just a little darker than the original dark dots that we added around the edge, and we can use this to pop in a few shadows. Like we did with the original dark layer, keep these focused around the edge, but allow a few of these dark marks to get into this bright area. A little bit of contrast here really allows the glittery effect to shine. Repeat this process for the other two baubles, working from the outer edge inwards and starting with your darker colours and finishing with your brightest highlights. To paint the shiny gold tops on the bauble, we're going to use titanium white, burnt umber and mid yellow, and you can start off by drawing a little box on top of each bauble. You want 3 shades of gold for this. You want a brighter yellow, which is a mix of the mid yellow with just a little bit of burnt umber. We want a mid yellow, which has a little more of the burnt umber, and then an even darker version, which is mostly burnt umber with just a little bit of the yellow added. Start with your lightest yellow and add this towards one side in a stripe. Either side of this, add your mid colour, and then on the very outer edges, add your dark colour. You can take a damp brush and kind of smooth these colours together into a smooth blend. Finally, take a little bit of white gouache and add a bright highlight on the lightest area of the gold. For the top of this bit, take the lightest yellow and just draw a line across the top. Then you can take a smaller brush and add a line of burnt umber just on this edge, just to indicate the shape of the top here. You can also add a little line of dark down either side for the deepest shadows in the gold. Use a small brush and add a little loop to the top in your light yellow colour. And repeat these steps for the other two baubles. Finally, you can add some strings to your baubles. You can paint this if you like. Here I've just used a ruler and a pencil. I've added rounded corners to this because who doesn't love a nice rounded corner? And this is now ready to send out as part of the Gouache Greetings challenge. If you're not familiar with this challenge, we're painting a new Gouache Greetings card every week this December to send out to someone that we might not get to see this holiday season. If you want to join along with this, you can find all the information on my Instagram page at Ruth Wilshaw, and I'll pop a link for that below. Happy painting!